Welcome to the VR Expert Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Coles, Marketing Manager for VR Expert. And in this podcast, we will be sitting down with innovators, experts, and creators transforming the XR world. Today's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Antony Vitillo. Antony Vitillo is an AR and VR developer, entrepreneur, consultant, and blogger. Since 2014, he's been working with AR and VR technologies, and in that time, he has co-founded two ventures called Emotion AR and New Technology Walkers, as well as collaborating with VRrOOM, or VRrOOM as he just told me, in the field of virtual concerts to great success so far. And last but not least, he is the person behind The Ghost Howls, one of the best VR and AR blogs in the industry. And with that, welcome Tony, and thank you for joining us.
Hello everyone. Hello Mark, and thanks for inviting me to this podcast. I'm quite excited to be here talking with you, and thanks also for the great introduction.
My pleasure. I mean, you've earned it. So, like we ask with all guests, I would like to start with how you got into virtual reality and this technology.
Well, I would say that I've always been interested into computer games and always had this kind of passion. And so that's why I started computer science engineering, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to really tell everything about my life. It would be pretty boring for this podcast. But what happened is that basically during my thesis, I got started in computer vision, and especially in those kind of things that were mixing real and virtual objects. Now I know that the term is augmented reality, but in that case, it was just computer vision algorithms to track the hands. So this kind of weird thing about image analysis. And I got started interested in mixing realities. And so what happened in 2014 is that there was a previous classmate of mine that wanted to create a new venture, a startup about new technologies, and he knew that I was intrigued by this mixing reality stuff. So he said, why don't we join me? We could do something with the Google glasses that are amazing, new product, blah, 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 that's coming out now, the video on YouTube are amazing. I was super stoked by this, and I accepted the proposal. We bought the Google glasses for a lot of money, which I did terrible. Let's be honest. They promised to be fantastic. The first iteration of Google Glass was much less than what was promised. That was its big problem. And so it was a huge failure. We spent a lot of money for a useless gadget. Basically, it was good only to take photos, but pretty expensive as a photo camera. So it was $1,500 plus on the shipping for the United States. So you can imagine that was a mess. So while we were like crying in a corner because of the disappointment, the other guy was called Gianni, was like, Lina, he said, but I have also another device that I bought lately. It's called Oculus Rift DK2. I said, I haven't bought it. I have no idea what this means. And he said, okay, tomorrow I'll take it to the office. So the day after, he put this black box on my face, and I could see myself in this Tuscany aisle. Was the Tuscany demo who has ever tried the Oculus Rift the case. And I was kind of amazed. I was like, wow, I'm in another place. I mean, there was the pixels that are super big. There were no controllers, no avatars, nothing. So for today's standard, it was a super crappy experience. But for that time, for me, it was like magic. I'm in the office, but I see myself in another place. So I said, wow, I want to do this in my life. It's so amazing. It was just love at first sight with virtual reality. Actually, this is what happened. I'm still here after more than 7 years from that day, trying to pursue a career in AR and VR, hoping to do my best.
So that time has gone through, and as I said in the intro, there's actually a lot of things you're still busy with. Like I said, you're a VR and AR developer, entrepreneur, consultant, and blogger. Where do you share your time, and where are you busy with at the moment?
Well, that's a complicated question. I mean, when I try to do too many things, I'm basically always busy. That's one of the downsides of my life, is that the free time is really little. I should improve on having more work-life balance. So luckily, I have also some friends that are outside our community, so they remind me of the real world, apart from the virtual one. So important to spare always some time for myself, or to stay with my family or my friends, even if it is a little time, at least something, because it's important. And then for the rest, it's really working a lot of hours and trying to, mix the highs of one job to the lows of the other. So If you are a consultant, maybe there is 1 week of a month you are super busy with a consultancy job, and then for 2 weeks nothing happens. And the 3 weeks where nothing happens, instead of doing nothing, maybe I work on my own products, I wrote a super long blog article, etc. Then there is another job incoming. So I try to mix the various, up and downs on the various jobs. Until now it's working, but it's not always easy when you have two apps in the same time. That's that's the worst problem of my life at the moment.
And you just finished off with apps, new technology walkers. Can you tell me a bit about that? Because that's where you launched one of the games that I see you and applications you talk about a lot, Hitman Reloader. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, basically in 2017, me and Massimiliano Ariani co-founded this agency called New Technology Workers with the idea of helping others in developing VR applications. So it was a consultancy agency, basically. And that's what we do. I mean, someone asks us to develop a training experience, entertainment experience, blah, blah, blah. We use Unity and develop it from the beginning to the end. So that's our job. My main job as a developer, tech leader, or however you want to call it, is providing experiences to others. And then we decided also to do something of our own, because while it's great to do applications for others, but you want to do something also that you really like, that you really enjoy, that you feel really yours. So we have this game called Hit Motion Reloaded that has a very long story as well. But basically is a fitness game. It's a boxing VR game. Our motto is to make people stay fit while having fun. The idea is that you have targets around you. You have to punch them very fast. Super intense training. After 1 minute, you're already sweating because it's super intense. And so without even noticing, you're doing fitness and having fun. So that's the game is now App Lab. If someone wants to download it, it's called Hit Motion Reloaded. It's also on the focus tree. And just to give a glimpse of the weird story it has, it started in 2016 as a game with Kinect and VR headset, full body game. Then 2019, it became a mixed reality game for the Vive Focus Plus, launched in China. Together with HTC China, I was on a stage in Shenzhen. It was quite emotional to announce our game. It's very weird for an Italian little team announce a game in Shenzhen, a big city, Shenzhen in China. And then in this year, we ported it to the Quest because now the market is all Quest, and we are looking for support to port it for the demo that is going pretty well on App Lab to a full game that we want to release on our platform, basically.
So you're still working on that?
Yeah, I mean, now we are more in the phase that are looking for a publisher of funds, etc. So for some weeks now, we are a bit less on the dev side, still a bit on it, but a bit less on that, because we want to understand, how much support we can have, so understand what can be the timeline for the future of the game. So we have lots of ideas, lots of game modes that we have in our mind. Want to see how we can really do that, because when you are an indie team, I know that magazines get visibility only the ones getting millions in funding every day, but the reality of indie team is that you're always tight on budget, and so you have to be very careful. So we try to look for some support. It's not easy, I will say that, but we're doing our best. So we want to keep working on it anyway. So we hope to have a full version incoming. Let's see what will be the timeline, the features, etc.
Then recently, I've seen in the last couple of months you've been more involved with virtual concerts. Can you tell me a bit how you got into that?
Well, that was interesting because it was end of 2019, and we were still, I guess we were in the period that we have just launched the version for the Vive Focus Plus of HitMotion, or more or less that period. It was maybe September 2019, something like that. In one of the WeChat groups I'm in, and I have WeChat just because I have a relationship with people in China, because otherwise no one in Europe has WeChat. In some of WeChat groups, there was a guy called Luca Ciuttolo that had another website about VR called VRrOOM, where he shared some news about VR. And he was looking for a developer to experiment with VR events or something like that, because he has this great passion for art and culture and for VR. So I just want a contract work with to hire a developer. And he put this on his website and shared in the group. So I read this and I said, okay, I'm not interested in being hired by him because I have my own business. But then I said, let's invite him and say, hey, but are you available to sign a collaboration? And he said, yeah, why not? But I have just this money. I said, okay, not. I don't want to become rich doing this. It's just let's start working together. It started really as an experimentation, like let's find what is the best social VR space, blah blah blah. So I started digging into various social VR environments, and I picked the VR chat because I think it was the best at the time to create events of this kind, so artistic ones. Then basically we onboarded some artists that I knew, pretty good from Mid Studio, that is close to here in Turin. But the story at the beginning is quite boring. It's like guys experimenting, then Louis Cacciuttolo contacting many people, but everyone was like, I don't know, VR events, maybe it sounds cool, it's interesting, but I don't know. And then the pandemic arrived. And the all I don't know people become a really desperate need a VR event now because I can't have my physical event anymore. And so around April, I would say, we started really getting lots of requests for VR events. And so we went from 0 to 100 basically in a few weeks. And we had to do lots of events. Some of them went really bad, really good. Some of them a bit bad, but most the overall thing was that we were doing good and we were improving over time. And it's interesting because, long story short, in this more than 2 years, apart that I'm happy that we started before the pandemic. So we weren't the guys jumping on the train, we were just there before. And these years we made incredible stuff. We worked with the Venice with festival, with South by Southwest that in the United States is super famous. Here in Europe a bit less. We worked with Jean-Michel Jarre, that is considered one of the legends of electronic music. We just did a concert with him. Now that is not even a concert. We did a concert for the New Year's Eve of 2021. And that had lots of views, 75 million around all the world, considering all media, TV, YouTube, VR, etc. And now we did something that is more called Oximo, that is a preview of an experience that is more an experience. You're like in a city, there are these songs of Jean-Michel Jarre, and every song is associated with the environment of this city. So you all move around these environments, you listen to the music, you can interact with them, you can speak with other people. So it's all about also looking for a new kind of how to express the art in virtual reality. It's a very interesting topic. I'm a developer, so for me, it's a bit complicated to think about it, but luckily there are artists working with us. And I think it's a very interesting sector. I mean, it's growing and it has potential also for when the pandemic will be over, because you can do with it things that are impossible in real life. So just to finish all this blabbering is that when we did a concert in 2021, there was a concert inside the Notre Dame Cathedral. And Notre Dame, first of all, is a church, and you will never have a concert inside it. The second thing is that it has been burned down, so it's impossible to enter now. But in VR, we were there inside the church, enjoying a concert and enjoying lots of 3D animations appearing all around us. Something impossible in real life, only possible thanks to the magic of VR. So that's why I'm amazed by this sector.
So it's quite amazing how it's picked up so fast. And talking about how the industries are picking up, or certain areas in the magic of VR, you recently did announce your yearly article on your predictions for virtual and augmented reality in 2022. How has it been received so far?
Well, I would say that everyone is always interested in reading the predictions of the others, even if some of them never prove to be true. But I think it's more interesting to understand what can be some trends to look an eye on. So the predictions sometimes are correct, sometimes not, but at least you're reading by predictions of the others, or by providing them myself. It's all about understanding what can be the things that can change this year. And I think that this year can be one of the trends, for instance, that I see is that VR and AR are getting always more blurred as a division between technologies. So I was unsure if writing VR predictions and AR predictions. Then I remember that, especially because of mobile AR, there are still some things that are completely different between VR and AR. But for instance, one of the biggest trends for VR in this year, and I'm not the only one that thinks about this, is that all VR headsets are getting passed to AR. And most probably, if they're released this year, will be color RGB passed to AR. And this means that when you define AR headset or VR headset, probably when also VR expert, we have to offer to people the Lynx R1. What category are you going to put it in? It's a perfect AR headset, it's perfect VR headset. So it's kind of a hybrid, and it's all the technologies are going to contaminate each other. VR and AR getting similar. 5G sometimes is integrated into headsets, sometimes no, mostly not at the moment. AI is being used everywhere inside headsets. So I see a lot of convergence starting to happen. This is truly amazing because it makes us see that the future really building in front of our eyes every day. And that's why it's so exciting being in this field in these years.
And like you just said, it's very exciting. In the article, you did mention that for one of the first times, virtual reality is in a very good, healthy way at the moment, how it's growing. Was there a reason? Why do you think it's in a healthy way? Because you also mentioned Meta's really dominating, and that's without a competitor. Why did you think it's in a healthy way growing at the moment?
Well, let's put it like this. I was there since 2014, and until 2016, there was a big hype of VR. Everyone was talking about the VR. Everyone was saying, "Oh, you just mentioned VR to investors, and they give you money." It never happened to me, by the way. No one gave me money by mentioning VR, but in the United States, it happened, and this was not a true health ecosystem. Well, too many expectations. No one was making the real assumptions. Everyone was just dreaming. It's like what is happening now with the metaverse. It's all dreaming, blabbering about, the future will be this, the future will be that. And then what happened? In 2016, we had the first consumer headsets. They were okay, but they were expensive, etc. People realized that VR was not going to happen immediately, so people start panicking. The VR is dead, blah, blah, blah. It was mess. So the initial growth of VR was all fake, was all made by hype. While since 2019, especially thanks to the Quest, but not only thanks to the Quest, we started having real growth of VR. So people that really found the real use case for VR in enterprise, for instance, the Quest proved the value of VR in consumer for gaming, for instance, because it's cheap and has great content. And the ecosystem started growing with real numbers, so not inflated by hype, but because there was a hardware that was working, because there were content that was making millions in dollars in revenues. There are now studios that are living out of VR content. There's something possible 5 years ago, just to make an example. So that's why I say that it is a healthy way, because now there is an ecosystem that works and that is really growing every month, every year with real numbers and people living out of the technology. Just a mention of what you said. I'm not saying that this ecosystem is without problems. The fact that Meta is almost all the market shares is a huge issue for all of us, I think. And I really hope this will change. I don't think it will change this year, honestly. I think we will need a serious competitor to invest money, to invest time, to invest a lot in technology and content to be serious against Meta. But we seriously need it, because otherwise we get into a true monopoly, and this is not healthy in the same way.
I completely agree, and there's a lot that needs to be done, as you mentioned in the article, which everyone should read. That in the coming years they'll probably hire tens of thousands of the best developers and builders in Europe for that area, and then the chance of someone really coming in is gone. If there is to be someone, of course, 2022, completely agree, there's no chance. Who do you think in the next 5-6 years will put up the biggest fight or want to put up a fight?
Well, it's interesting to understand if it will be a VR fight or an AR fight, but just take the VR fight that is the closest one. So I think that among the brands that we have now, probably the one that I see can be an outsider and have some chances, maybe Pico, because now it has ByteDance behind it, so lots of money, and the Chinese government, for the good and for the bad, but it's a lot of money. And also, I don't know. I wonder if Samsung will make a move sooner or later, because I remember seeing some years there is this rumor around about hybrid AR VR headset by Samsung, and now everyone is releasing AR and VR hybrid headsets. So who knows? Instead, the name that everyone is waiting for is Apple, of course, because everyone is wondering if this year there will be at least the announcement of a Apple AR VR hybrid headset. And while I don't think even Apple, this device can sell more than the Quest, at least for this year, even if it was released this year. I think it could have a huge visibility.
Yeah.
And if it has the feature that are being promised, it could disrupt more all the high-end market of VR, because it could be 8K for eye, M1 processor, so it could really disrupt a sector of VR. And the Quest will be in a more difficult position because of the branding, because no one loves Meta, and that's a huge problem. But I don't think this happened this year. So I think that the VR or VR hybrid AR wars can be with these names probably, but then the real big battle will be probably down the line in 2 years or whatever on AR glasses, and there will be everyone versus everyone: Microsoft, Google, Snapchat, Niantic. It will be a new Far West, because Meta, Apple, Samsung, everyone will be there to conquer the AR glasses, and it's going to be very interesting, that war, because that will be probably what will define the next technological platform.
Going on that, all of the companies you just named in the AR, VR, or mixed reality or extended reality, whichever word we're going to give it, is there a European manufacturer or maker that we see could make an impact? Currently, Europe is sadly far behind or hasn't got any real competitor there. Do you see a European competitor that might emerge?
I will say I really hope so, but at least for the short term, I don't think so. I think that we don't have the right ecosystem. It's something that I was speaking at Stereopsia in a panel, and we were all saying that someone must take an action. First of all, the European Union, because we need really to create an ecosystem for this to happen. Because otherwise it happens. There are some excellent companies. I would say, for instance, Lynx is a startup with 15 people, 15 that are trying to compete with 10,000 people at Meta, basically. How do we think he can compete? I think it's a miracle that with 15 people he built an headset. Yeah, MR, it's a cool headset. There's no chances against 10,000 people. And there are other cool manufacturers. There is Varjo. It's a company that is doing very well on the marketing side, on the product side. They have one of the best XR headsets on the market, or the high-end ones. But again, it's a niche product. I don't see it become mainstream. They say that, okay, we released the headset for everyone. It was $2,000 just for the headset. I think that everyone they know have a lot of money, because I guess no one of my friends is going to buy it for 2,000. And another one that I like to mention is VRrOOM. That is in Prague, and also with this new partnership with Somnium Space. I find that they're creating an interesting partnership on the software and hardware side. Now they want to release, Somnium wants to release a standalone headset, probably made with VRrOOM. VRrOOM has the XTAL3 that costs $10,000, but Upload VR said it's probably the best VR headset they have tried until now. So I think we have some excellence, but they're all small companies trying to really do their best. And if we want VR to really succeed in Europe, we need another European company with at least 1,000 people working in AR and VR. But we need I think a joint effort between, really, we need some overview of the European Union or someone, because otherwise alone is just too difficult.
No, we need an a la Airbus kind of, everyone coming together to create something. I mean, back to just in general, we also, I think when our last call we discussed Sony, will they be announcing anything? And they did finally announce the Sony PSVR2. And what I found very interesting in the article is, was it a bit too late? That they had their chance 2 years ago, I think was one of the most interesting points. Have they missed the boat on it?
I think that in part, yes, in the sense that I'm sure that the PSVR will sell some millions of units because it will be a great headset. It has the PlayStation brand, so
Yeah.
it will come with great content. I'm sure that Sony will work on some exclusive titles, etc. So I'm sure it will be a good product with a good success. But I think they could have been like the new standard of VR or something like that, instead of being just a good headset lagging behind the Quest. Because when 2019, probably the Quest was still beatable. So PSVR2 with the features of this PSVR2 probably could have moved the market because people say, hey, but this is a high graphic experience with all these exclusive titles, with a PS station that already have, etc., etc. Now it's like okay, but there is the Quest that costs probably less, has amazing titles. I don't need a console. It's coming too late, and then there is this cable that while I am not the hate for cable, I think that if the game is good, the headset is comfortable, the cable is not a huge
No.
problem. But it shows you that it's something that shows that the headset is still a bit in the past. I don't know how to say that. It's still that it really seems something that should have been released earlier to be able to really fight with the Quest. Now it's the Quest is taking his road, is skyrocketing, and PSVR is too difficult to catch up with it.
Understand that. Going further into the article, you discussed about the new form factor, the pancake lenses, all the new more goggle headsets. Do you, besides the fact that the technology is really impressive and we finally got a breakthrough there, do you not think it might impact the development of VR applications and AR applications? Because all these headsets are, of course, less powerful in some ways. So the very useful applications, so for example, a very advanced flight simulator, those things will become less and less because the money is more in these lower capability applications.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a problem of the pancake headset. This is again the Quest, the problem. I mean, it's not the problem, but for this
Of
thing in
course, yeah,
particular
yeah.
is a problem. And the reason is very simple: is that as a developer myself of a game, if I have to choose to release a game for 1 million people, 2 million people on Steam, or 7, 10 million people on Quest, it's of course much more profitable to release on Quest.
Yeah.
And if all developers aim at Quest, the Quest will be the platform with the most content. And then people will say, yeah, but you can publish your game on Steam as well. And then here there are two scenarios. The first one is that consider an indie team, a little or medium team, and they don't have the resources to make a new version completely for Steam VR. So the options are two: either they don't release on Steam anymore and they focus on optimizing everything for Quest, or they just take the experience on Quest and publish it on Steam. The result is that either on Steam there is not the content, or the content is so visually low quality that it has no sense to spend $1,000 to buy Valve Index to then see a content made for mobile because you don't exploit the headset. At this point, you buy another Quest and you just use it with your PC. So the PC ecosystem is becoming always poorer, and this is one huge problems that people are complaining about. So this is a trend that we're going to follow how it is going, because the PSVR2 can change the cards on the table again, because if it sells well, people there will be more people interested in high quality graphical content, and so they will release on PSVR2 and PCVR, and PCVR can start again. Otherwise, PCVR is going to have always fewer content, and so for the general consumer, it won't be interested as a VR ecosystem anymore. For professionals instead, and for prosumers, the graphical power of a PC is always important. So I think that market is going to be pretty strong always. Regarding the pancake lenses, I think that they're probably going to add new, let's say, confusion in the ecosystem if they become widespread, because they have a different form factor, different field of view, different control scheme. And for developers, again, now that we're all reaching to a quasi standard of controllers that always look like the one of the Quest, the form factor all similar, blah blah blah, means a new form factor to take in account while you develop something. So it can create new confusion, but it's also true that I really like this new form factor because It's something that you could wear also outside, like in a plane or in a bus. You don't look like a total idiot while wearing these big sunglasses headset. While with a Quest, you feel really weird. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I think it will be very good, but see, not for per se for the enterprise market just yet. Talking about the enterprise market, what do you see developing in it this year? Or what do you very well said that there's a lot of people who are doing very good things in specific areas, but there's no real dominant force in the enterprise market just yet.
The problem is that the good thing is that since the consumer market has been won by Meta, everyone is going enterprise. So there are Varjo, VR engineers, HP, Microsoft, Pico, HTC, everyone has gone enterprise. So, and no one has really a dominant product so much better than the others. Everyone has pros and cons. You want super high resolution for VR, XTAL 3 probably is the best. You want mixed reality, Varjo XR3. Do you want standalone with amazing features? Buy Focus 3. You want standalone, not so expensive? Pico Neo 3. So it depends, and so there is a lot of confusion, lots of competition also to stand out from this market, and it's interesting that market also there is Meta, but it's like, yeah, they're there, they take some good, take some good work, some good customers, but they don't push really on the business side. They don't invest that much, so there is a lot of competition happening. But the good thing is that the market is getting bigger because all the enterprises are going AR or VR because everyone has understood the potential of this technology. You know this better than me, Mark. And everyone wants to do some kind of training, marketing, or remote assistance. There are lots of things can be done with AR and VR that can help a company having sparing money, saving money on the product, make safer environment for the workers, or help also them in relax sometimes. So there are really too many applications that there is a market that is always growing. This is happening both here in the West and also in China, where enterprise VR is also growing.
And as a developer, what do you think is going to be the most important thing that happens in our industry this year?
Well, as a developer, I would say that one thing that intrigues me that is going to happen is I would say the hybridation of technology that I was saying before, but even more going specifically, some technologies are going to be released. So now, for instance, Meta for the Quest 2 is releasing spatial anchors that basically lets you put an element in VR or AR in your space, and then even if you turn off your headset and you change your room area, etc., they remain there in the physical space. This opens up lots of new applications, especially because I'm pretty sure that this year we will see these anchors become shareable with other people. So me and you can go in the same room and I'll put, I don't know, let's say something about training. I put some notes in industrial warehouse in some places, and you can come and see those notes exactly where I put them, and we can discuss them together in the physical space, but with virtual elements. And together, this in AR, maybe with the new pastel color RGB that is going to come with Project Cambria, is amazing because we could have AR with shared elements between people in the same room. And this can be great for industrial uses, also for entertainment. There are lots of things happening. And also, there is some accessories that are coming. I don't know, the Vive 3 now there is this tracker. So for the first time, we're having a tracker for a standalone headset. So you can track props with a standalone headset. You don't need anymore the lighthouse boxes in your home. I haven't tried it. It's still, I don't even have a DK. I hope to get one maybe. I really want to test it, and I think because this can be very interesting for LBVR, for instance, location-based VR and training other sectors, because you don't need a station, you don't need a PC, you have a focus tree, you have a tracker, and maybe you can do some cool training experience. So there are these kind of things that excite me for this coming year for VR. So new accessories, new technologies embedded in VR, the mixture of AR and VR on the same device. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
And I mean, to keep up with you and get all this information constantly, where can our listeners expect to find you, or where can they find you?
Well, I try to be mostly everywhere, so I get the biggest visibility I can. So either you look for my name, Antony Vitillo, on LinkedIn, for instance, or you can look for Skarredghost, Skarredghost. You can look on it on Google. I have a website where you can find my articles, my long walls of text article. Then I have on Twitter, on YouTube, and Reddit. So I really try to be connected with the community because it's really made of amazing people. So it's great to get in touch with everyone.
And to finish off, like you said in your article a lot, 5 to 10 years. Where can we expect Antony in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's a common joke that since everyone started saying always 5 to 10 years or whatever should happen, now I say that it's a synonym for I have no idea when it's going to happen. So in 5 to 10 years, it's hard because I'm really trying to do too many things. I hope to still be there in what will be the metaverse in 5 to 10 years. This magical word that everyone is using. Hoping that I will be there and still working on the field, trying always to innovate, maybe with my own company or with a relevant role in another company. So trying to push the technology, and I hope that when we will meet again in 5 to 10 years, probably something that has evolved in AR and VR has been also thanks to me. This is something that will make me a bit happy. And that's the magic of working on an emerging field where everyone can really make things to become big, maybe. So you create a new idea that someone evolves and then becomes a standard. This is something that is truly exciting. So I really hope to have a relevant place in this industry in 10 years. I'm still trying to push the boundaries further. But let's see. I mean, it's a hope. Otherwise, I will be frying fries at McDonald's.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Antony, and I really appreciate it. I think our listeners really enjoyed it. In the description or wherever we post it, we'll put links to you so everyone can go find your great work and keep in touch with you. And from me today, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.